You open your eyes and immediately realize something is wrong. You're lying on a wooden floor. There's no phone, no electricity, no cars outside. Instead, you hear horses, footsteps, and the sound of metal being sharpened. You slowly sit up. You're wearing traditional Japanese armor. A sword is resting beside you. You pick it up, and your hands suddenly feel strangely familiar with it. Then the door slides open. The enemy is approaching. You freeze. Enemy, approaching. You look outside. Hundreds of warriors are preparing for battle. And then you realize, you haven't just woken up in ancient Japan. You've woken up as one of its most feared samurai. And before this day ends, you may have to decide whether you fight or survive. Chapter 1. You're not a movie samurai. Your first instinct. Pick up the sword. You hold it dramatically. You even try a cool swing. Bad idea. The sword is heavier than you expected. And suddenly, you realize something important. Being a samurai isn't about standing dramatically in the rain. It's a warrior's life. Training, discipline, pain, long hours, and absolute control. You look at your armor. It isn't just decoration. Every piece has a purpose. Protection, mobility, and status. Then you hear someone outside shouting your name. Apparently, everyone expects you to know what you're doing. There's just one problem. You don't. Chapter 2. Your training starts before breakfast. Before you can even eat, you're taken outside. Your instructor hands you the sword. Again. You swing. Again. You swing harder. Again. At this point, your arms are begging for retirement. You finally understand why samurai training wasn't something you learned in one afternoon. It required years. Swordsmanship, archery, horse riding, strategy, discipline, and mental control. You aren't simply learning how to attack someone. You're learning when not to attack. And that's much harder. Chapter 3. The battle is coming. By afternoon, the atmosphere changes. The jokes disappear. The training stops. Messengers arrive from the battlefield. The enemy is closer. Your armor is placed around you. Piece by piece, you become almost unrecognizable. Then someone hands you your helmet. You put it on. Suddenly, you can't see the world the same way. Everything becomes narrower, darker, more serious. You hear hundreds of soldiers preparing outside. Horses, armor, weapons, flags moving in the wind. Your heart starts pounding. Yesterday, you were worried about notifications. Today, you're worried about whether you'll see tomorrow. Chapter 4. Your first battle. The gates open. You ride forward. For a moment, everything is strangely quiet. Then, a signal sounds. The battlefield explodes. Horses charge. Warriors move forward. Arrows fill the sky. You hear metal crashing against metal. You suddenly realize, this isn't a video game. There is no restart button. You stay focused. You defend. You move. You watch your surroundings. And slowly, your training takes over. You aren't thinking anymore. Your body knows what to do. But then, you see someone from the opposing side approaching you. A highly trained warrior. He stops. You stop. For a moment, the entire battlefield seems to disappear. It's just the two of you. Chapter 5. The duel. He raises his sword. You raise yours. Neither moves. You realize something. He's waiting for you to make the first mistake. So you wait 2, 5 seconds, 10, 20. Your arms begin to ache. Then, he moves. You react. Metal crashes. You step back. Another strike. You block. Another. You dodge. This isn't about swinging the sword as hard as possible. It's about timing, patience, reading your opponent. One mistake, and everything ends. Finally, you see an opening. You stop. Your opponent stops too. Neither of you attacks. And strangely, you both understand something. You don't need to prove who is stronger. You lower your sword. He does the same. The battlefield continues around you. But for one moment, two warriors choose not to turn a fight into something worse. Chapter 6. The Code. After the battle, you return to camp. You're exhausted. Your armor feels heavier than it did that morning. You sit quietly, and someone asks you, why did you stop? You don't know how to answer. Because being a warrior isn't simply about winning. Samurai culture placed enormous importance on discipline, loyalty, courage, and honor. But the reality was complicated. The romantic image of the perfectly honorable samurai is much cleaner than real history. Samurai were people. They made difficult decisions. They fought wars. They experienced fear. And they wanted to survive, just like everyone else. Chapter 7. The night after war. Night falls. The battlefield is quiet now. You sit outside beneath the moon. Your sword rests beside you. You think about the person you faced earlier. You realize he wasn't some movie villain. He was another human being, someone with a family, someone who probably had his own fears. And suddenly, the sword doesn't look powerful anymore. It looks heavy, not because of its weight, but because of what it represents. You finally understand. The hardest part of being a warrior isn't learning how to fight. It's learning what you're willing to fight for. You close your eyes. The sound of the battlefield disappears. Then, you wake up, back in your own room. Your phone is beside you. Cars are outside. Everything is normal. You look at your hands. No armor, no sword, no battlefield, just you. And strangely, you feel relieved, because after one day as a samurai, you realize something. The greatest warrior isn't necessarily the person who can defeat everyone. It's the person strong enough to control himself when he has every reason to fight. And maybe that's the part of the samurai story we understand only after we imagine living it ourselves.